So I gave myself like a year. So after I studied, I actually failed my postgrad.
Crazy, really?
Yeah. So one of the courses, the people management,
Yes.
I had to rewrite. So I had an extra 6 months at UCT that I had to rewrite.
Yes.
And during that time, I still worked because it was one class a week, and I worked as well. And we worked on Rosey Vittori.
Yes.
And I think in that moment, we became such good friends in that process. And I gave myself a year, and I was like, if it doesn't work after a year, it's fine. And I think in that space of time, we just became so close that we realized that we were going to do something big together.
Isabella Rosa Bisogno is the head designer at Rosey Vittori, a locally produced South African fashion brand she co-founded with Steven Eddie Rosenbaum. Drawing inspiration from their shared Italian heritage, the brand started in streetwear a decade ago and has evolved into offering edgy yet sophisticated apparel. Known for bold separates, goddess dresses, and unique basics, Rosey Vittori seamlessly blends South Africa's vibrant street style with Italian elegance.
Heavy is the head to wear the crown. When I take the crown off, I put it on ice.
Thank you so much for making time.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah. My
Amazing.
girlfriend just like put me onto the brand, and I saw it and I couldn't believe it was local. And then like we went digging and found you guys.
Yeah, I was actually wondering like how you got onto or us or me, and
No, she's also got unbelievable taste, and she put me onto it, and I was just like, wow, this is incredible. We'll have to get them on the show. So thank you so much. Thank you for making time.
Of course.
And your business partner is Steven, right?
Steven Rosenbaum.
Love to have him on the show.
Please, that would be amazing. Yeah.
Amazing. So tell me, if we are in some sort of a professional setting and someone asks what you do for a living, like what's my
tagline? Co-founder and creative director of Rosey Vittori. Yes. And now we've actually just subsequently added an additional brand. So co-founder of Porter Luxury Carriers as well.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And Tom, if we're watching like a documentary on your life, and Steven's and, Rosey Vittori, the backstory, how would that documentary begin? Like, what's the origin story? And please feel free to give us as much context into the early sort of parts of your life and before all of this, just to give us that early context of you.
So Steve and I met at varsity.
Yes.
So I studied a 3-year BA degree in fashion at Fadisa. And then I subsequently went on and did a postgrad specializing in business management and entrepreneurship. And through that course, we had to create a business within the course, within the year. And we came up with something, we had a team. We came up with something called the towel bag. So it's basically a towel that folded up into a little bag and you threw it over your shoulders, and it had all these cute little like Cape Townian prints.
Incredible.
And Steve was asked he had a mutual friend in our course, and he was asked to come and speak to our entrepreneurs class about his experiences as an entrepreneur. And he just started out and like really hadn't gotten anywhere with the brand because he had started the brand on his own. And he came to speak to the class, and from that experience, we became close because he offered like manufacturing capabilities. And because we were doing the towel bags, he said we can manufacture. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. We need someone to manufacture for us. And he became our manufacturer. And I was so interested in fashion. And because I'd studied it, I took that role on. And that's kind of like how we met and how the business started through that, because we were like constantly working on the towel bags, and then started slowly to work on Rosey Vittori as well during that process.
And take me a little bit further back to your early context.
Oh, my early,
tell me like, your parents, and like, was fashion always a thing? Like when did the fashion bug sort of bite you? So take me back to your...
Okay, so back to my childhood, really.
Yes.
So my parents were both in retail. Okay. My dad at Pick n Pay he ended his career about just after COVID, about 30, I think it was, 49 years. In retail. My mom 35 at the Fashini Group. So I grew up in this, retail background. And my mom being in fashion, I think always just excited my sister and I, and like we love fashion, and I think it's an expression of who we are. We express ourselves through our clothes. My mom would go, both my parents traveled a lot, so my mom would go on buying trips all the time, and we would always be so excited. We would tick off the days of when she was coming back, and on the last day she would come home. She did like mini buying, little, what am I trying to say? She did capsule collections for us as individuals, and she would buy into that, and then she would lay it out on our bed, and so it was really sweet. It's like very fond memories. And she would lay it out on our bed, and we would come home, and there was this whole little capsule collection for us, and we would then try them on and, parade and do little fashion shows. So I think that is where the love of fashion came from. We'd go and visit the head office, the Foschini head office, and she would draw little figures, and we would cut out magazines and little swatches and make these beautiful, figures on paper. And so that's really where the love, I think, stemmed from. And this retail background was huge enough. I mean, my parents are both very successful. My mom was a pioneer, I think, in the fashion industry. So that's where I think it really, really stemmed from.
Incredible. I love that story so much. Yeah. Man. Jeez. And what are the sort of qualities you think you've learned from them?
Definitely hard work.
Amazing.
Yeah. I think that's definitely instilled in both my sister and I.
Incredible.
We saw them grafting from day one. I mean, traveling all the time. I mean, never neglected my sister and I. We were always priority, but they were business focused, career driven individuals. Wow. Yeah, so I think hard work was a big part of our growth.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And your sister older than you, younger than you?
My sister's younger than me.
Okay.
We're best friends.
Amazing. I love that.
She's also an entrepreneur.
Incredible.
She owns a brand called The Lobby in Jared's Cafe in Sea Point.
Oh, yes. I have seen it. Oh, yes. Beautiful brand.
Beautiful brand.
Wow.
Yeah, she's also a hard worker. And then she's our co-founder in Porter as well.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, and then did you guys just know from a young age, this is exactly what we want to do? Or was there like a moment where you're like, this is what we're going to do?
I think we just always knew.
Really?
I think it was, like I said before, I always had quite self-esteem. I was quite self-conscious growing up. And I think, and that also stems back to like I was diagnosed with learning difficulties at the age of 7. And I think that stems back to, what am I trying to say? I expressed myself through clothing.
Yes.
I think
something you just got and understood, and it's a language you
absolutely. And I understood it, and I think that just helped my confidence, because I loved it and I played around with it, and I wasn't scared to wear.
Yes, and it's in your blood.
Yeah.
And I love that. And so you said you studied, after school you went and was that in Cape Town?
Yeah, Bedisa.
Okay.
Yeah, and then postgrad at UCT.
Okay, incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. All right, so take me to, so you meet your co-founder.
Yes.
Was it just you knew you're going to do something with this person from the moment you met them, or was it working on projects? And because I mean, like finding a co-founder is a very difficult thing to work with people in general is difficult.
Yeah.
Like, did you guys just know do you remember the first project you guys worked on, or how did that sort of relationship come together? I think
we became very good friends quite quickly. Yes. And I think we just kind of knew that we were going to do something together. And at that time, so I gave myself like a year. So after I studied, I actually failed my postgrad.
Crazy, really?
Yeah. So one of the courses, the people management.
Yes.
I had to rewrite. So I had an extra 6 months at UCT that I had to rewrite.
Yes.
And during that time, I still worked because it was one class a week, and I worked as well. And we worked on Rosey Vittori.
Yes.
And I think in that moment, we became such good friends in that process. And I gave myself a year, and I was like, if it doesn't work after a year, I can go to the corporates. I can go and, I can go work for the Foschinis or the Truos or whatever it is. And if it doesn't work, it's fine. And I think in that space of time, we just became so close that we realized that we were going to do something big together.
Incredible.
Yeah. And it just kind of, we kind of dove into it, and it just blossomed.
I love that. It's like the foundation was on friendship, and like someone you can really get along with and spend a lot of hours with. And, you both have something you're so excited about.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And I don't think it is, I think it's very rare. I think it's difficult to find somebody that you really like know. Obviously we have our moments, but that that you've got the same vision, and you're going, you're grafting to something that's bigger than you, and you both have that innate, we understand each other. And I think that's really what has taken us to the next level.
And so manufacturing, you were telling me, done here in Cape Town.
Yeah. So we have two silos to our business, actually. So we have our Rosey Vittori manufacturing side, and then we have RV brands.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I think we lost our handwriting through the process, through the years. We did a stint in YDE for about 3 years, like early on in our careers.
Okay.
And we had to learn to conform to, because YDE in itself is a brand.
Yes.
And we had to learn to conform to their brand in order to
customer. Yeah. Absolutely.
In order to perform. And we just totally lost our handwriting. And I think from there we decided, whoa, let's take it back. Let's reassess what we think the brand and where the brand needs to go.
Yes.
And we pulled out.
Yes.
And in that moment we were like, shit, what do we do?
Yes.
Like, we need to scale back on the brand, but we can't do nothing. We need to make money. So we kind of just started knocking on doors, and we're like, we have some sort of idea of manufacturing. So let's knock on doors and see if we can, get some work from retailers. It's exactly what we did. And we started manufacturing for Spree at the time.
Wow. That's incredible.
And then Spree was bought out by Superblis and Naspers and the whole take a lot.
Yes.
And then we started working for Superblis and actually grew that business.
And what items did you guys start with? Were you doing pretty much everything from the get-go? Or did you add?
No, I think we quickly found that dresses were our strengths in wovens, and we kind of ran programs on dresses. And that still is our strength, because that's kind of where we started. So we were doing, it was one style for Spree at the time, and then it grew into 2 and 3. And then when they bought over by Superblis, it grew way bigger, because we started creating these networks and these relationships with the buyers. And when they were trading really, really well, we were developing their sleepwear stuff with them and their dresses. So the manufacturing side of our business really grew.
Wow.
Yeah. And it actually overtook the brand.
Oh, interesting.
Very interesting.
And did it give you some good insight as well to what people are buying, what's working,
absolutely,
and what's
Absolutely. Because obviously, retailers work 6 months in advance, and you're learning brand specific, but you're learning what fabrics they're using and what, trends that they're following and colors. And and then we just applied some of those things to Rosey Vittori. And, then I think we learned a lot doing the manufacturing side.
Yes.
You learn a lot about quality and the right factories and trims and fabric. And so manufacturing became a bigger part of our business. And then we started reviving the brand, and we started doing tracksuits just after COVID, and that kind of just reignited the brand.
Amazing. I wanted to ask you, how did the name come together?
Okay, so that was on Steven's side.
Yes.
So he started the brand, like I said, before I joined, and he's Steven Rosenbaum. So Rosey was his nickname at school.
Where did Vittori come from?
Vittori is his granny's or his great granny's maiden name.
Okay, incredible.
And I'm actually Isabella Rosa.
Oh, amazing.
So it actually kind of all works.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah. So it all works.
Okay, so after COVID, you guys decide, is it something you tried, the item, and it started working?
Yeah.
Or is that something you knew was going to work? Or did you try a bunch of items? Or how did that whole process happen?
So, the whole idea of... luxury, not luxury. What am I getting at? The comfy, there's a word for it and I can't think now. The comfy tracksuity was coming out of COVID.
Yes.
So we were like, okay, let's get onto that trend. Yes. And we were like, we got to do something different, because we can't be like every other brand in the market, because everybody was doing tracksuits and t-shirts and comfort wear at that time. So we actually did colorful tracksuits with an acid wash.
Amazing.
Yeah, which I did. I did all the acid washing, and it just flew. And then we rolled with that.
Okay.
And then obviously, fads change, or trends change, and people want something else. And then we started progressing into more dresses, and the brand's been through a little bit of a 360 circle. I think we're still trying to find exactly where we fit.
Yes.
But getting there. But
yes.
the tracksuit was what reignited, I think, the brand.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And firstly, I want to know, how do you sort of stay on top of what's happening in fashion? Are you always researching? Are you watching fashion shows? Like, what's your process in just keeping your ear and 100%, your eyes on?
100% watching shows. I think culture also has a lot to do with it, and what people are wearing. I find like that quite interesting. It's like what people are wearing in the streets.
Yes.
In magazines. I mean, my mom has, we grew up looking through Vogue, and
amazing.
There's something called Zinio that my mom, you download all the magazines and then she sends things to me because she's very in it still. She's interested in a whole lot of things. And then we travel. Even today.
Amazing.
No, she's still grafting.
Amazing.
Even though she's not at Fashini, she's still grafting. And she's a big inspiration. And she also is constantly on top of what is happening in the world.
Yes.
Whether it be politics or whether it be, I don't know, interior, I think that all plays a part. And
absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It really, really does. And you take inspiration from lines from a certain discipline.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah.
And who do you sort of look up to in the fashion world today? Like, who's
an inspiration?
Yeah, and who do you keep your eye on whenever they're doing something?
I loved Virgil Abloh. I mean, he no longer is.
Course,
yeah. And I think he was a pioneer in this bit of a street flair. So I mean, the brand is a bit street. It's got a street element.
It does. It definitely does.
A street element, which I think is what we're trying to keep a thread. But it's not a street. I wouldn't say it's a streetwear brand, but it has a street element. So Virgil is a big inspiration. But I always on Pinterest and Instagram and seeing what's new, and people, even influencers have influence on fashion, and all the international, what people's wearing is, I think, is a big drive, and it gives a lot of inspiration.
Okay, so it can be anyone.
It can be anyone. It doesn't not necessarily pinpoint. I mean, they're incredible designers in the world, but I think it's more about how it's watered down into people and how they interpret big trends or how they put things together is really interesting.
I love that. That. So you guys are currently in, we are the Egg Store in Rosebank, correct?
Yes.
Where else? You
in
guys
the
are
waterfront.
in Waterfront?
And we stock my store at the lobby.
Okay.
And then predominantly online.
Okay. Incredible.
We have decided, and big changes for the brand, we are going to leave Egg.
Yes.
I think it's time to be on our own. And really, we've had an amazing learning curve, but I think it's time we open our own standalone store.
Absolutely.
It's time.
You guys have such a strong online presence.
Yes,
where does that come from? Do you guys bring someone in who does that?
No.
Who's curating? Not.
It's
really?
us. I think that's actually probably my favorite part.
Really?
Cass works for us, and Cass helps me run that side of our business and the marketing and the shoots. And we have amazing photographers, and we do all of it ourselves.
Makes sense.
I think, it's actually really fun. We did a shoot yesterday actually on the beach for Porter. And you just when it comes to life, you're just wow, how amazing is this that you've worked so hard on producing or thinking about a theme or a concept, and it actually comes to life, and it's better than you expected. Is quite fun.
Well, you can tell because you can see you guys are so focused on the little details of everything. I'm not surprised that you're doing that as well yourself. And it's just, you guys, you care. You can tell these people care about what they're doing. And it's cohesive. It looks incredible. It's curated well. There's a lot of thought into colors and backgrounds. And it's not just hey, let's just go shoot. It's a beautiful backdrop. It's everything's well thought out.
it's a lot of prep for shoots,
Yes.
especially campaign shoots. But I think it's really like shows the consumer like what the brand is about or what your current theme for the season is. And I think that's important to showcase that.
Yes, yes.
And I know sometimes we try to be quite high fashion.
Yes.
I think it's creativity. It's an art in itself. And I do like to be quite high fashion. Sometimes maybe it doesn't always translate into retail.
Yes.
But I think it's important. And I think that's where we foresee the brand. You know, it needs to show that. The page needs to be beautiful. It needs to be represent the brand.
Absolutely. And tell me, in terms of business, what is between online and physical stores, where are you guys sort of bigger at the moment?
So predominantly online.
Amazing. Really?
Yeah.
Incredible.
But I think a South African customer likes a brick and mortar.
Yes.
They want to go into the store. They want to feel, they want to touch, they want to smell, they want to try on. And I think it also, I personally like to shop like that. I like to go into a store being able to understand the brand, you know, because I think a store also should represent what the brand is about, and try it on. And that experience, I think South Africans still love.
Yes.
So we are, I would say about 70-30.
Okay, yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Incredible. That's interesting. I definitely think that's very exciting that you guys will be doing your own store. What do you think is the feeling you would love to capture someone walking into the Rosey Vittori store for the first time?
I would hope they would be wowed. You know, you want them to feel, I want them to understand the brand. And, you know, we both have Italian heritage. And I think that slowly starting to play through in our designs. And the store needs to represent that as well. They need to understand where the brand's heritage comes from, you know, and they need
Incredible. Incredible. I love that.
Thank you.
That's amazing. And so what are your sort of top 5 cities in the world you would want a Rosey Vittori store? Yeah.
Definitely have to be in Europe.
Yes.
Probably Paris.
Yes.
The coast of Italy, probably my favorite place in the world.
Amazing.
Somewhere along there.
We're manifesting.
Yes, totally manifesting. Yeah. You have to manifest.
Yes.
Maybe like a New York. It could be a New York as well.
Yes.
And then Barcelona.
Amazing.
Yeah. And somewhere in Portugal or Spain, I would say.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's a very European brand. So I think it needs to go or be there. I mean, London could also be one of them because it's also, you know, fast fashion and people, well, we're not necessarily fast fashion, but like people resonate to London. I think it starts there.
It's a fast city.
It's a fast city and
100%.
People, yeah.
Yes. And it would suit the brand.
Totally.
I love that. Where do you see the brand in 5 years, 10 years? Is it something you would want as many stores as possible? Do you still want to keep it sort of boutique?
I think we would like to still keep it boutique, not small, like very small, but like maybe 5 stores, you know, Amazing. So we can still control. Still boutique, still like, you know, people must come in and have an experience, not just another retailer. I think, you know, if they come in and they have sit on the couch and have a cup of coffee or a glass of champagne and then shop and enjoy the experience. And so I would say probably maybe like a store a year.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's very exciting. Cool. Very exciting. Tell me, how do you see the product range growing? Is there more things you guys are trying to do? Is there other avenues you guys want to sort of go into as a brand as well?
Absolutely. I think we would love to extend it into homewares.
Amazing.
Yeah, into maybe a fragrance, maybe some jewelry. I think because we're also interested in the other things, aspects as well. Like, I mean, love interiors, and it would be cool to have something like a Rosey Vittori cushion, you know. Or
I love that, and the brand lends itself so well to that. I don't know if that's because you guys have always been pretty experimental, and you guys have just sort of, I mean, I love that you're sitting here going, you know, we lost our handwriting a bit, but we're figuring it out.
Yeah.
And I love that, because like, to most people who look at it, they're like, whoa, established brand, they know exactly what they're doing. And you guys are like, we're still figuring it out. And I love that energy.
I don't think we know what we're doing.
That's amazing.
I think there's still so much learning to like, you know, for us to go through.
Yes.
And I think the brand still has so much legs and potential. And I think we still not quite there yet, you know.
I love that though.
Yeah.
I love that you guys are so honest about that and open to share that, because most people act so cool with the brand.
Yeah,
you know?
totally. Like, we know exactly
what
what we're doing. No,
amazing.
we don't.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But I think that's what also allows you guys to look at different avenues. And I think the brand would work so well in homeware, and it could like fit in those pockets so well.
I know. I think also we would like to eventually open again back in Johannesburg, because I think that is our market.
Yes.
And possibly that could be, you know, collaborating with other brands like my sister, the Porter brand, you know, the Lobby. I don't know. It would be so cool to have a space where you have like a coffee bar in the front, and then, you know, you shop Rosey Vittori, but you can also shop Porter that goes with it, or, you know, a piece of jewelry or piece of homeware. Like,
incredible. You
want that interactive space, and that would be something so cool as well, you know, to have in a few years' time. Or
I love that. I love that. Tell me, if someone is listening to this podcast now, or this show, whatever this is, and you know, they've just started their brand, what is like advice you would give to either a younger you or someone in a similar position who's just come out of varsity and they are sort of taking on this mammoth journey? I'm going to take a year and figure this out.
I think just do it. Like, if you really want it, I think you'll put in the hours to make it happen, and just persevere. I think you just need to keep going, because failure is inevitable, and you're going to have moments where you're not going to do so great, or something's going to happen that's going to set you back. But I think if you really, really want it, you will do everything in your power to make it happen. And I think if you've got that in, like, you can see it in wherever, you know, in your own brain, you'll make it happen. Just keep going, work hard. I think, you know, hard work is,
it is,
like,
it, right?
Is everything, you know?
Yeah. It takes a lot, and it
takes a lot.
Yeah.
We're still not even 100% there. It takes 10, 12, 15 years to actually see success.
Yes.
And then you called an overnight success, you know?
Yeah.
But you've been doing it for so long. And I think if you're so passionate about it, you'll make it happen.
Amazing. What does a day in your life look like? Like, take us through a day in...
I start at 5.
Yes.
I wake up at 5.
Really?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Have a coffee in bed. I feel like that's a little bit of like my meditation time, like just my time for myself.
Yes.
And then I go to training. I go to gym class with an amazing personal trainer. And from there, I then start my day, go to work. And a day in the life it depends on where we're at or what we currently producing for our own brand or for other brands, and it's all over the place, to be honest. It's all mishmash of it. It's very difficult to pinpoint exactly like what do we do in a day. I'm not sitting at my desk all day designing or drawing. It's a little bit of this, someone calls you to do that, you need to approve this or do that. So
amazing. So
but I think my morning routine is key, and that is without fail.
So that's your constant, is the
Absolutely.
Get up, have the coffee,
absolutely,
go to training, do your thing, and then 2 days are the same at work. You wear many 100%. Different hats, and I love that. Yeah. And how many people in your guys' team at the moment?
We are about 20.
Wow. Yeah. Amazing.
20 so we have a main building, and then there's like a little parking lot, and then we have a cutting facility and a small little factory that's a subcontractor, but she works for us and does our small little runs. And
amazing.
Yeah.
And the manufacturing side, you mentioned sort of specializing in dresses earlier on. Is it doing a lot more at the moment?
Yes, absolutely. And a whole lot of different things.
Yes.
And for quite a few retailers, which is exciting.
What sort of items, if you can give me an idea of?
So we're currently running a jumpsuit and a dress, 2 dresses for Cape Union Mart for the Rare Earth brand, for instance. And then we've actually also moved into like a lot of people have asked us to do bits of corporate wear. Hate saying the word corporate wear, but uniforms for, my brother-in-law just opened a restaurant called Kiki's in Sea Point, and he needed uniforms for the staff. So shirts and pants and an apron. And another brand has asked us to do jackets. So it's all different. Heineken, we've just done a collab with Heineken, and it was denim jackets and denim dresses and shirts and shorts. So the variety of items differs from brand to brand, but there's an endless we can do anything.
Really amazing. Yeah. And the corporate wear, has changed. Back in the day, it used to be like a branded t-shirt. These days, brands are really putting effort into activations and like how everybody looks. And so, that makes complete sense.
Totally. It's not just like your stock, like you said, a stock standard t-shirt with with their branding. And they want something a little bit more bespoke, a little bit more special. Yeah. So I think that's also become another part of like where we also driving our manufacturing side as well.
What is the manufacturing company?
It's also Rosey Vittori. We just call it RVM. So RV Manufacturing. And RVB, so RV brand.
And where can people reach you guys for the manufacturing? Website?
People find us, but website, you can reach us through our website, or we just Isabella at Rosey Vittori or Steven at roseyvittori.com type of thing. Yeah.
Amazing. And what are some of your dream collabs with the brand? If you could do like a collab.
Oh wow. Okay. I haven't even thought about that. That's quite interesting. We just did, I'm going to talk about Porter now. We just did a really cool collab with Old Khaki, and that was like, that's taken off and that's amazing. So it would be cool maybe to do a collab with Rosey Vittori with like a big retailer, because you also then you gain
distribution and
absolutely, and you gain I wouldn't say followers, but you gain eyes, you get nationwide traction. And I don't know, it would be cool to do something, with a big retailer.
Like who?
Sure.
Put it out there.
Manifest. I don't know, actually. Maybe, I'm really enjoying working with the Cape Union Mart brand, because I think they also have, they're a family brand, and they, they stem from like a family unit, and maybe one of those brands could be quite cool.
That would be amazing.
Would be quite cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And anything from your side? I see you got a piece of paper there. What did you write on there? Let's make sure we haven't. Let's make sure we haven't missed anything on your list.
No, I think we covered it. Hey, I thought you were going to ask me like, what quote do you live by, or something like that.
What quote do you live by, Isabella?
That's I think consistency is a winner. And I think it's like it's not about what you do once in a while, it's about what you do every single day that I think makes you successful. Yeah.
I love that. I couldn't agree more. Consistency is everything. I think with anything, I work with so many musicians. I always tell them like, just drop that song every 3 weeks. Your life will change. Just make sure you have that video. It's the same with, I'm sure in your world, be consistent with whether it's the designs or new product coming out, be consistent with your product, because I think it's such an important word that people sort of brush over these days, but I think it's everything. I couldn't agree more.
And I think it's small steps, which I think in the process you may think it's insignificant, but actually in the long run, it's huge. Yeah. And that's what leads to success. And success isn't by accident. It's about what you do all the time.
Absolutely.
The sacrifice, the perseverance,
Absolutely.
Which is so important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you read much?
I don't. I should. I don't.
Movies?
Yeah. Here and there. I'm not very like screen driven. I don't. Yeah. Quite a bit on Instagram, and like you follow people. I enjoy like listening to podcasts. I must say. Okay. I just listened to Diary of a CEO with George Heaton. I don't know if you know George Heaton from Represent, which is really cool. And like also just understanding their stories and where they came from. And, and then I think if I had to read, and I should read more, I would be more interested in people's lives and like this and how they became successful.
Yeah. Just do audiobooks.
Yeah, it's a good way to do it. Exactly.
Best way, yeah. And I'm with you. I'm also like really into more of the autobiography side of things.
Exactly.
I like to hear people's stories and things that they went through, and you resonate and learn from their journey.
Totally.
Absolutely. Well, from my side, I just want to say, I think you guys are onto something incredible.
Thank you.
I think you really get it.
Thank you.
I don't think there's any better way to say it, but you guys get it, and the brand looks beautiful, and I think you guys are onto something incredible, and I think it's just a matter of time until everybody else catches on.
Yeah.
And I wish you guys the absolute best, and hopefully we can sit down and do another one with Steve.
Please, that would be amazing.
And then the stores opened up and we can talk about that whole process and that journey of, you know, getting to that point. So I really appreciate you. Thank you for making time and I look forward to doing it again.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Isabella.
Appreciate it.
That was amazing. Thank you.
That was very cool. I was so nervous before. Thank you. That was very cool.
Heavy is the head that wear the crown. When I take the crown off, I put it on ice.